Hey, welcome everybody. This is Dave Katowski, and I am the founder and director for the Elevate Academy. And this is section number 6, your final section. You've done a great job so far in getting through the first 5 sections. Hopefully, you've done all your homework. So let's just jump right into this last section here. So here are all the sections that you've gone through, and here's our last section, which is receiving offers, the NCAA clearinghouse, and national letters of intent, which is obviously really important. So there are 7 parts to this section, and here are the 7 parts. Number 1 is how many scholarships are there for my sport, and we're going to show you some charts, but you can get to each one of these by following that link right there. When can a coach make an offer to you? And that goes into the blackout periods and the recruiting calendar that we talked about in section 5. What actually is an offer? Can a scholarship change year to year? Financial aid, how to handle offers, and then obviously the NCAA clearinghouse. So jumping in, scholarships by sport. We're starting off with women's sports. We go alphabetically from basketball all the way down to water polo. And you could just see respectively here as an example, if you went into women's golf, you can see that there are 6 scholarships right here. If you went into lacrosse, there are 12. And that's Division I, Division II, 3, NIAA, and then junior college. So each one of those is going to be unique to your sport, so you need to find out which one is best for you. And then this is men's, no different. It's all alphabetical, and it shows each sport. Now, what's really interesting is on some of these, you can see where it says NCAA 1 here is a head count sport. Now, what does that mean? Right here, if you play football, men's or women's basketball, or women's volleyball, tennis, or gymnastics, all of these scholarships are full rides. Those are head count sports, full rides. The rest of the sports are generally partial scholarships, but you can still get close to a full scholarship if you also have good academics and you get some academic money on top of your athletic money. Offers cannot be made until your specific recruiting calendar begins for your sport. So as we used as the example in the last session, we said that's in women's lacrosse. We were showing that is September 1st of your junior year. Now, depending on your sport, your offer may include academic and athletic scholarships, but each school is different. So in the Ivy Leagues, where I went to school, they do not offer any athletic scholarships whatsoever. It is all. Now, in my case, I received an academic scholarship, but that doesn't even exist anymore because now all the Ivies are financial aid based and it's need based. So that's a big difference because you could be an unbelievable student, but if your parents make a lot of money, you're not going to get an academic scholarship because it's need based. And that's how the Ivy Leagues work. Now, some schools aren't allowed to stack athletic and academic money together. You could have 2 schools who happen to be in the exact same conference, yet their programs are completely different of how you can stack that money. So that's really important. Academic money cannot be taken away from you unless your grades falter. So that's a great thing when you're getting this academic money. Let's say you get hurt, you can't play anymore. They can't take away that academic money from you. So that's a really important thing. And then also, can they take your money away from you if you are on a scholarship and you get hurt? Yeah. In many cases, scholarships are renewed year to year. Now, some schools will offer a 4-year scholarship that's guaranteed. You need to work that out with each specific school. There's no just guarantee across the board. Each school is going to be different and each school is going to be unique in that way. Now, talking about financial aid and why this is really important is financial aid money often comes in the form of grants and student loans. The grants do not have to be repaid. So that's like getting a scholarship, and getting a grant is huge because you don't have to repay that. Now, financial aid, though, is reviewed every single year and can fluctuate year to year based on a family's financial situation. 2 really important points here are another benefit of financial aid is that if one school does a financial needs analysis, and most of these schools will have a financial needs analysis right on their main website, you can then use that analysis with another school and they can try to match that need. Especially when you're dealing in the Ivy League schools. Most schools are going to be relatively close, but UPenn offers you a financial aid package that looks like this over here. You can take that financial aid package and bring it to Cornell and say, hey, this is what UPenn is offering me. What can you do? Now, another thing is if you do get a financial aid package, that does not mean that that is the final package. You can go back to a financial aid officer and say, well, listen, due to extenuating circumstances, my spouse was out of work, or whatever it may be, my parents were out of work, my legal guardian, our business was under pressure, whatever it may be, you can actually sometimes get more money by going through what your extenuating circumstances are and work that out. And you can actually get your packages increased, which is fantastic. How do you handle offers? Well, the first thing is the most important thing. You got to say thank you. Coach makes you an offer. First thing you say is say thank you. And then you also want to know, is there any timeline associated with this offer? A coach might say, hey, you have a month to make a decision, or you might only have a week to make a decision. We need to know right away. And that depends also on how high of a recruit you are. If you're the number one recruit, they might say, hey, there is no timeline on this offer. When you're ready to accept the offer, you let us know. And you also need to let the coach know that you need to discuss this with your family and your coaches. Do not just accept an offer without having the time to say, I'm going to speak to my family about it. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. I always use me as the buffer, because you want to be able to say, hey, I appreciate this. I need to speak to Coach Gutowski about this and just weigh all your options, but thank you so much. And should you use other offers to try to get more money? If you have other offers on the table, you have to be very careful in how you do this. And a lot of times, I think that's where you need to use your coach or your recruiting coordinator to help you with that, because you don't want to push a coach away by saying, hey, well, XYZ school offered me this and you're below that. You can be honest with them, but you have to be careful in how you negotiate that. And I would let someone who has negotiating skills do that for you. And then obviously the last thing is accepting any offers that you can get down the process. Now, when you're accepting an offer, one thing is you want to get the offer in writing. You don't want this to change, and offers can change over time. And in essence, when you're getting that offer right away, really it's a verbal commitment, because until you sign your national letter of intent, which isn't going to be until your senior year, nothing is binding. In number 4, we have additional offers in here because a lot of coaches, and especially in intense sports like football where the recruiting is insane, you're going to have additional offers, and those offers may come in at different times. So just because you verbally committed somewhere does not mean that you have to go to that place. You can change it. I'm a perfect example of that. I had verbally committed to West Point and was planning on attending, Army and going to West Point, and everything paid for. And that's what I verbally accepted in the fall of my senior year. And then when I went on to my last recruiting trip to Brown, I fell in love with Brown and said, wow, this is really where I want to go. But I had not signed a national letter of intent yet. So I was able to accept the offer from Brown and then sign a national letter of intent with Brown and accepted the offer. Once you accept the offer, the one thing you should do is notify all of the coaches that had been recruiting you. It's the right thing to do. And one of the reasons why is coaches change schools often. And let's say this coach has been recruiting you really hard and you don't let them know that you're going to another school and you accept that offer and they find out on social media, that's a bad thing, because it's insulting to that coach. So you want to let the coach know, Coach, I thank you for the offer. I'm accepting an offer from another school, and you let them know. Listen, different coaches will handle it different ways. Some will say wonderful things and say, I appreciate it. That's the classy thing to do. I've had coaches who have hung up on kids once they have told them that they're going to another school. But once that is done, you've accepted the offer, you're verbally committed, then you can put that on social media, which you see kids doing that all the time. But do the right thing first and let all the coaches know who you're recruiting, that you're accepting an offer from another school beforehand. Now, I kind of talked about this in the last session, but I want to talk about it again. The more offers you have, the more schools that are interested in you, the better leverage you're going to have down the road. And I've had kids where they had very good schools that were very interested, and they're like, yeah, I'm not interested in that school. And I would tell them, show interest in the school no matter what, because what it will do, it's going to give you leverage down the road. If you just have one school that's interested in you, you have no leverage. It's the only school that's making you an offer. So try to get as many schools interested in you as possible. And in the beginning, you never know. You might step on a campus like I did at Brown and all of a sudden fall in love. So keep your horizons open and keep your options open. That's one of the most important things that you can do. Now, NCAA Clearinghouse. Every athlete needs to do this. If you want to play college sports, you need to go into the NCAA Clearinghouse and you need to create your own profile. This is the link to the NCAA Clearinghouse. If you just type in NCAA Clearinghouse, you'll find this. But every student athlete who's looking to earn an athletic scholarship from Division I or II, you must register with the NCAA Clearinghouse to make sure that you're eligible both academically and as an amateur athlete. They're going to have a lot of questions when you're filling out the NCAA Clearinghouse profile. There's going to be personal information, obviously, about you, date of birth, where you live, what high schools. If you've attended more than one high school, you need to put that in there. The NCAA Clearinghouse will work directly with your high school to get all of your transcripts. Basically, what the NCAA Clearinghouse is looking to do is to make sure that you are academically eligible to get a scholarship or to even get recruited. The other thing, as we have here in this section here, where we have amateur athlete over here. Well, the important thing about the amateur athlete is that you haven't accepted any money. And you've probably seen where players have been investigated because they got money from a school, either through a booster or something, illegally. And if you do that, you automatically lose your NCAA eligibility. So they'll ask questions in there about, did you ever get any money to play your sport? Or if it's a sport like tennis or something like that, did you make any money because you turned pro and now you can't accept the scholarship because you turned pro? So all of those things are really important when it comes to the NCAA Clearinghouse, but most of it's pretty self-explanatory. If you have questions, I would go to your high school coaches or your club coaches to help you with that. And these are just some facts that I've taken directly from the NCAA on Division I, Division II, and Division III, what the difference between all of them are. How many student athletes, how many teams. But when you look at it, you can see right here that there's 443 colleges and universities in Division III that offer athletics. And there's 351 in Division I and 308 in Division II. Now, obviously, they're going to be sports specific to you, but it's really important that you know and you have an idea of the differences between Division I, II, and III. And then here's a quick breakdown about athletic scholarships from the NCAA. But on average, that there's more than $3 billion in athletic scholarships that are annually offered to 150,000 student athletes in Division I and Division II. And in Division III, with more than 190,000 student athletes, they don't offer anything related to academics. It's all need-based academic support. So all this stuff is accessible to you via the NCAA, and all this stuff is obviously really important. But I want to summarize this. We've gone through all of our 6 sections, but this one here is, number 1, determine whether academic and athletic offers can be stacked together. I have had many kids that the key decision-making for them was they had offers from various schools, but one specific school was able to stack both academic and athletic money together, in essence, giving them was almost a full ride. So that's really important. Ask if you can get the offer in writing so you're clear on what the offer truly is. If a coach makes you an offer, thank them, then discuss the offer with your team to make sure it's right for you. When you accept the offer, contact other coaches who are recruiting you, post it on social media. After you've done that, go to the NCAA Clearinghouse website and read up on the requirements. Register yourself with the help of your parents. If you're unsure of a question, as I had said earlier, ask for your help from your coach, your guidance counselor. And then really important is write down your NCAA Clearinghouse number and keep it in a safe place so you remember it. This has been all 6 sessions of the Elevate Academy recruiting platform. This program has worked for so many student athletes because what it's all about is the things that we talked about: your mind, your body, your game, and your life. By combining all aspects of this, what you're trying to do in this process is you're trying to differentiate yourself. You're trying to make a college coach say, I need that person on my team. That's what this is all about. Follow each step, take each step and give it its proper due by making sure you're going through all the steps that we've given you and doing all the homework that we've given you. If you've done all this, hopefully you find a school that will forever change your life. For me, it sits right up behind me. Brown University was a place that literally changed my life and forever will. And that's why I keep giving back to Brown in so many different ways. So thank you so much for taking the time. The one thing I ask of you all is, if you can, if you've gone through this, you think this is valuable, please share it with other people. Let people know about the Elevate Academy. Let them know how we have differentiated and we've been able to help you in this entire process. So once again, thanks again. We appreciate you. And if you need anything, always reach out to Coach K. I'm here to help you in any way that I possibly can. Thanks again and have a great day. Keep elevating in everything you do. Make a difference out there.